How's it going, Dungeoneers? It's your boy Luke here, and welcome to a brand new PvE guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Awakened Mystic. While she may not be considered one of the best grinding classes in the entire game, to me she is definitely one of the most fun and has some of the smoothest combo chains in the entire game. Easy to dash around with, tons of cool effects, and you get to literally throw a dragon at people. How could that possibly be bad? So today we're going to be breaking it down into these categories. We're going to talk about your skill add-ons, we're going to talk about your mobility abilities, areas where you can one-shot and how you should be doing those areas, a full-on DPS combo, and of course, tips and tricks to make your grind as smooth as possible. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, these are the skill add-ons that I use for when I am grinding. I use the same skill add-ons no matter where I am, whether I'm going to Sulfur Mine and one-shotting, or I'm going over to Star's End, I'm doing Sakraya. These are the add-ons that I use. Now these by all means are not mathematically tested. I'm sure if you go into the Mystic Discord, they might have some better ones for you. But these are the ones that I have found that I genuinely enjoy using, and it gives me everything I need. So first off, we're going to use Rapid Stream. This is your Shift LMB ability. You can use it when it's off cooldown. And the main reason that I like this is because this is what I always start every combo with. I always start with a Shift LMB. It gives minus 10 DP on the actual hit, and then you have minus 15 DP from your add-on. So immediately you're getting a minus 25 DP, and you're getting plus 20 AP against monsters. This is like one of the best ones. Like I said, you can use this skill whenever you want. It is one of my absolute openers. Absolutely fantastic. Then we have Wave Orb. Wave Orb is your T3 add-on. It has a pretty low cooldown of 15 seconds. You can't use it during the cooldown, but you're only going to use it once per pack anyway. Does huge damage, and the add-ons we have are extra AP against monsters and critical hit damage, because realistically, when we're just grinding, you do a lot of crits, and of course the extra AP versus monsters 30. You can't go wrong with that. It is our main T3 add-on. I use this. Also, it appears to be that when you get this buff, it actually applies to the damage of the ability that it's on, and this is your hardest hitting ability. It doesn't look very hard right there, but what you'll see when we get into the actual skill tree, that it hits like an absolute truck. Next up, Sea Burial, Forwards RMB. This is a really good skill. I use it for pulling. I also use it for DPS if the Wave Orb was not enough to kill them. Really good skill. Tons of mobility, does good damage, does more damage than it seems to be here, because it has a flow that comes with it that does a lot as well. I also give it critical hit rate and attack casting speed, because I also use this for pulling. It has a little bit of range on it, and I'll use it. I'll dash a couple times, use that, and that'll help me get these going for when we start DPSing. Spiral Torpedo. All right, Spiral Torpedo, it's mainly known for giving you an AP buff and basically giving you guaranteed back attacks, which is super nice. And I figured, hey, since you're using it every single combo, we're going to put some defensive stats on it, because we're going to need defensive stats anyway, especially when you get to the higher end grind spots. So I have DP and evasion on it. Evasion rate is super good on Mystic, because evasion is already one of the Mystic passives. You get a 10% increased evasion passive. So when you use this, it'll all of a sudden give you an extra 4%. Evasion rate is never bad. And of course, DP, you could swap this out for more damage if you want, but realistically, you're going to have all the extra AP versus monsters from this. And this is giving you an extra 16. I believe it says plus 4 there, but that's a level 1, so don't worry about that. So I just put defensive stats on it, and this is also our core skill, which we are using the super armor on it. So it's a really good super armor, no contact, because you will have no character collision while using it. Dash through the enemies, get out of jail free card. Might as well get some extra DP on it. Rising Dragon. This skill does okay damage, but it has a built-in minus 15 DP debuff when you use it with a 3 Martial Shard, which we always do. And on top of that, it has really nice add-ons. So not only does it shred their DP again, it'll give you WP back on your hits. It gives you some good accuracy. We also have attack and critical hit rate. And then Hurricane Sweep. This is one that I've actually been messing around with. You could probably swap this out for something else if you like, but I'm using it with back attack damage and critical hit damage. And the reason why, especially the back attack and critical hit, is because it flows into the animation of Wave Orb, so you can cancel Wave Orb. So I didn't want to have anything that Wave Orb has, because I only use it to cancel Wave Orb, and you use Spiral Torpedo to dash through the mobs anyway. So you Spiral Torpedo, you're behind them, get some critical hit damage and back attack damage from that, and then hit them with the big ass Wave Orb damage. It gives insane damage. Okay, like the Wave Orb is such a ridiculous damage skill. It's pretty much one of your biggest heavy hitters, so might as well amp it up with the skill that you use to cancel it. You could use some HP on hit on your Shift RMB if you want, but while Shift RMB does better damage than Shift LMB, which is Rapid Stream, it actually is only a tier 1 add-on. So I decided to use this one instead. Now, obviously, this is completely open to interpretation, guys. There's nobody stopping you from using anything else. You can realistically find whatever floats your boat. I mean, everybody's going to have a different play style. Everyone's going to grind a different way. These are just the ones that I've been using. If you're deciding to push sort of how far you can go, like maybe you're grinding somewhere where maybe you're not quite as strong or comfortable where you should be, you could always put more evasion rate on another skill. You could put HP on hit on Rapid Stream, but realistically, you're pretty tanky on Mystic. Mystic is a shockingly tanky class, especially with the evasion rate on Spiral Torpedo. She has a lot of protection. She's a really good class. I really enjoy her. But these are the skill add-ons that I use. All right, guys, when it comes to the mobility section on the Mystic, she is one of the easiest to explain. You have 3 forward moving abilities. First, you have your forward shift, or your W shift, which is your... where are we at? Flash step. I believe it's actually double flash on here. You can use it multiple times, and then you can consume your martial spirit shards in order to use more of them. So you can dash a couple times. You can dash up to 3 times without it using any of your spirit shards. And then you can repeatedly dash using up those spirit shards. Now, if you're trying to get somewhere really far away, you can always shift space, use your skill Tranquility. That'll give you 3 more spirit shards. 3, 4, 5, 6. You get another 6 dashes. Now, if for some reason 6 dashes is not enough to get you where you need to go, you have your forwards RMB, also known as Sea Burial. That is also a good damage ability, so try not to waste it. But if you really are trying to get away from a player, or maybe your pack was too big and you have to run away, forwards RMB is a good one as well. And you, of course, have Spiral Torpedo, which is your forwards F. Spiral Torpedo is a great escape ability, because let's say you're like stuck behind these mobs, right? And there's a whole ton of them and they're wailing on you. Spiral Torpedo does not have character collision, so it will allow you to dash out of the pack. And it'll also give you some DP and evasion rate from your skill add-ons. That's why it's one of the better abilities as well. Let's say you're just wailing on these guys. They gather up around you. You start taking back attacks, losing your health. Just forwards F out. And then, of course, you can just dash away. They're not going to be able to hurt you all the way over here. But the mobility portion, yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about on Mystic. You have your dash. You can dash sideways as well. If you dash sideways, it actually gives you an iframe. It's this skill here. Silent step, sideways shift. Iframe while using skill and movement speed 20% for 10 seconds when you land. So overall, another great skill. You can use it multiple times if you have spirit shards as well. You can like dash sideways, dash sideways. It is a super armor if you dash sideways while you have a spirit shard up. It is an iframe if it is off cooldown. So you have plenty of ways to escape, plenty of ways to move around. You can dash in any direction. Overall, she's a very mobile class. One of the main reasons I like her, I like these sort of fast, easy to move around classes. And she's one of the most fun of all of them. So without further ado, let's get into the damage combos, the one that everyone's here for. All right, guys. So when it comes to your DPS combo, you basically have one combo that I use all the time. Mystic is one of those classes that can kind of function on a priority system, similar to if you've ever played Nova or if you've ever played Tamer or something like that, where you don't have like an infinitely repeatable combo, although Mystic does have an infinitely repeatable combo. You don't have to use it. You can kind of flow around as you'd like. As you saw in our one-shot area, you can basically just dash between all the packs and use whatever skills you have off cooldown. But this is the one that I use. I call it the double dragon combo because you get 2 dragons out in the same combo. So we're going to actually start off with no spirit shards. I'm going to have to figure out how to I'm going to delete the spirit shards here. Just like that. Get rid of all of them. That was Wave Orb. That actually consumes your spirit shards, as you can see up there. So what we're going to do is this is going to be our pack here. Now, Mystic sort of has smaller AoEs than a lot of classes, so it is actually worth it for you to wait the extra second or 2 it takes for mobs to gather up closer together to kind of get into your AoE, because your AoE, while it does good damage, is very small. So assuming you need the absolute maximum damage combo possible. All right, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say the skill names out loud so you guys at home who are playing on console might know what we're doing. I initiate with Gushing Waters off the hotbar. The reason why is because by the time we need this in the combo again, it will be off cooldown. So we might as well use it right off the bat. It does really good damage, 1400% times 7, good crit, gives you super armor. Seeing as how it'll be off cooldown by the time we need it again, I see no reason not to use it. So we're gonna use Gushing Waters. Right after Gushing Waters, we're gonna start off with Rapid Stream, Shift LMB. I use the full hit of it. A lot of people will just use the initial hit in order to get the buffs and the DP debuff. I use it for 2 reasons. One, because I want to make sure the DP debuff hits every mob, and also because it gives the time for the monsters to actually gather up before you start the real damage. After Rapid Stream, we're going to be using Tidal Burst, Shift RMB. This does a ton of damage, has really good hit rate, does a lot of good stuff. It does pulls in PvE for some mobs anyway. Gives you Martial Spirit Shards available. Both of these skills are available off cooldown, so you will always be able to initiate with them. They're never going to be on cooldown. Tons of damage, gives you health back, accuracy, really, really good skill. So Shift LMB into Shift RMB. Then, what we are going to do, if you really, really need the damage, while using Shift RMB, you can actually hold RMB at the end and do the final punch from Dragon Shatter. Now, I don't tend to do that because it just feels kind of awkward to me, but the final hit of Dragon Shatter is 1240 times 3 with 100% crit. It is a very nice skill, so you can always do that. After we use that, we are going to Rising Dragon. The main reason why Rising Dragon does do okay damage on your Shift Q. However, the main reason you're using it is because of its juicy add-ons and DP Shred. And here's the thing. When you are using these skills, so you do your Shift LMB into your Shift RMB, that will give you 3 Martial Shards. When you use your Rising Dragon, it will use the dragon, but it won't consume all the shards. It'll only consume 2 shards. That's the first dragon of the combo. So that way, when we forwards F through, and we turn around to start DPSing with our big Wave Orb, we get a 3 Martial Spirit Shard Wave Orb. And that will allow us to do some awesome damage. So, what do we have so far? We have Shift LMB into Shift RMB into Shift Q, forwards F through. Okay, your forwards F through them. It's going to give you your DP, your evasion. It's going to give you 16 AP and put you right in the way to start hitting them with the back attacks. Now, the most important cancel in the combo. You're going to use Wave Orb, which is LMB and RMB. However, you are going to use backwards Hurricane Sweep, backwards F, to cancel the charging on Wave Orb. As you guys saw earlier, Wave Orb, you have to charge it up to use it, but if you back F into it, you cancel the animation. That is why I have back attack and critical hit damage on my Hurricane Sweep. And it also has its own built-in minus 10 DP debuff. You are doing tons of DP debuffs on this class. So, what do we have so far? That's the double dragon part, by the way. So you get Shift LMB, Shift RMB. It didn't actually work. Sorry, Shift LMB into Shift RMB, Shift Q. First dragon comes out. Forwards F through, backwards F, boom. That will do massive damage. Now, if the mobs aren't dead yet, you can use Dragon Shatter. You're playing RMB. And then hold LMB afterwards to flow into Gushing Waters. By the time you've gotten to this point, this is why the Gushing Waters I said you can initiate with, because it will be off cooldown by the time you get there. Even at full speed, Shift LMB, Shift RMB, Shift Q, forwards F, back F, Wave Orb. And then RMB, RMB, into Gushing Waters. The Gushing Waters only a 7-second cooldown. That combo takes around 7 seconds. Now, let's say that you have done that full combo and the mobs still aren't dead. What do? Well, the good news is for you, you can use the whole combo again. Shift LMB, Shift RMB, Shift Q, dash forwards. Now, Wave Orb, depending on how fast you're comboing, will not be off cooldown at this point. So what do? This is when you factor in Sea Burial and its flow. Sea Burial is your forwards RMB, and the flow does 4 times the damage of the original Sea Burial. It also is a dragon skill. That's why you can get the double dragon combo with it as well. Dragon into another dragon. The double dragon combo. And that is pretty much it. If they're still alive at that point, you can clean them up with more shift LMBs and shift RMBs because they are never on cooldown. Now, some people like to use Rabam skills. I personally do not have the Rabam skills yet. I haven't factored them in the combo, but this combo has been working great for me so far. So, from the top, the full combo. Gushing Waters. Shift LMB. Shift RMB. Shift Q. Dash through. Backwards F into Wave Orb. Dragon Shatter into Gushing Waters. Shift LMB. Shift RMB. Shift Q. Dash through. Backwards F. Forwards RMB. RMB. Gushing Waters. You can basically do that combo forever, over and over and over again. Now, there are skills that you can factor in at other points as well. For example, we don't really use a lot of Dragon's Rip. This is almost more of a PvP skill, but you can use it. It's good for mobs if you can vacuum them. Some mobs can be moved, some mobs can't. So you can back E. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's good for gathering up mobs, like I said, especially ones that have the ability to be vacuumed. I like to use it when I'm at Star's End when the mobs are around the crystal. I will use the back E to kind of keep them around it because they'll get stiffed while they're trying to get pulled here. They get stiffed around the thing there, around the crystal. You blow them up, easy peasy. Wolf's Frenzy, I never use this skill. This is much more of like a PvP skill. I very rarely see people use this in PvE. I mean, it might have its niche uses, but for the most part, I mean, it's an iframe, but that's pretty much it. Dragon's Pit. This is like one of the skills she's kind of known for. This would probably be more useful in higher end areas where you're really wailing on the mobs. The combo that I'm using, I don't even usually get to the Sea Burial portion before the mobs are dead at either Sakraya or Star's End. But once you get up to Orcs, Bloody Monastery, even at Castle Ruins, stuff like that, Dragon's Pit is a little bit more useful. It has an attack, cast speed, and move speed minus on it, and it just doesn't do the best damage out there, but it does consistent damage over time, keeps the mobs in one place. A lot better in PvP, but you can use that as well. And then, of course, for our core skill, Super Armor on Spiral Torpedo. I can't really imagine what else you would want to use it on, because like the forward guard on Wave Orb makes no sense because you're not going to be charging it. Forwards guard on Shift LMB, I mean, I guess is okay. But, I mean, floating on Rising Dragon is kind of weird. Bound on Sea Burial, like, they're all, like, okay. But just having more protection on that main defensive skill is just really, really great. Infinite Fortitude as well is a sort of interesting skill where you basically resist all damage. Well, not all damage, but, like, a lot of damage for a few seconds and explode. This is purely a PvP skill. I've never seen anybody use this in PvE. Honestly, I've never seen a single person use it. And of course you have your E buff. So just to go over the skills, your E buff, really, really good. AP, DP, attack, speed, and all resist, everything you need. Tranquility is to get your WP back. This is your Elvia skill. Really nice. I mean, if you're grinding an Elvia on an Awakened class, you're kind of wasting your time if you're not using the Elvia skill when you get a weapon. Tons of damage, like 1350 times 17. This is basically a free one shot every 15 seconds. That's your passive. Your Shift LMB, your Shift RMB, your Rising Dragon, Shift Q, your Rising Dragon, and your Spiral Torpedo and your Sea Burial are going to take up most of your skill points. Luckily for you, Sulfur Mine is one of the best skill point grinding areas in the game, especially until you get to like Bloody Monastery, which is really, really high end. And Mystic is one of the top 3 best classes at Sulfur Mine. She's absolutely insane because you just double flash and then you can F, double flash into LMB, double flash into RMB, double flash into Gushing Waters. She's really, really insane there. Go out, grind the skill points. I only needed about 1,200 to get what I wanted. You're pretty much going to want all these skills maxed out. Mystic does very weak damage until your skills are all the way maxed out because they take up so many skill points. But if I were you, I would put all your skill points into Shift LMB, Shift RMB, and Gushing Waters, and then head out to Sulfur Mine and just do a couple hours there until you get like 1,200 skill points, max out all of your awakening abilities. I mean, you could probably afford to not take Dragon Rip, Dragon's Pit, and Wolf's Frenzy at first. I mean, you're going to want them eventually. You could avoid the core on that to kind of save some points, but those are the ones you're going to want. You're going to want Tidal Burst, Rapid Stream, and Gushing Waters. That'll be enough for you to grind Silver Mine, assuming you're 220 AP. And then in your main page, obviously you're going to want to max all these out at some point. It's one of those things. Variety is the spice of life. You're going to want to have the ability to use every skill you want. But as for skills you quote unquote need to have is Flash Step, Silent Step, Lock Your Evasion. Binding is nice for the grab if you PvP. If you don't PvP, don't worry about it. You're going to want Crouching Wolf and Prey Hunt. This is an attack speed buff. This is stiffness on hits when you're using this. And when you consume all 3 shards, it is a 20% attack speed buff that lasts quite a while. And it actually pulls mobs, although I don't like using it at Star's End because it stiffs them. But it's really, really good for aggroing mobs. Overall, you want this skill. It's just your spacebar skill. Super good. And then obviously your passives. Your Mountain Aura gives you DP. This is one of the reasons why Mystic is so tanky, as well as this Howling Wolf, 10% all evasion rate. But this evasion rate is already built in. You don't have to put any skill points into this. So do everything you can. Like I said, Shift LMB, Shift RMB, Gushing Waters, your double flash, and then head on out to Sulfur Mine and just grind up until you can unlock everything. Some of these are wild. Like the last points of Spiral Torpedo is 62 skill points for that. Rising Dragon is 43. There are a lot of skill points you need. Just because the things are so expensive for whatever reason. But yep, gather up all those and then get your passives. These ones down here in your secondary skills, and all this can kind of be ignored, at least until you require your bond skills? What are they called? Rabam skills. Until you need to use these, and these will be much more useful when you get to super higher end stuff, but this is a lot more of a beginner's guide, and that is what you need. Hi guys. Last but not least, we have a couple tips to make your grind easier. First thing first, obviously I explained it in the DPS combo. Always cancel your Wave Orb with backwards F. The charge up time on this is really awkward. It is forward guard while you're charging, but why bother having forward guard while charging if you just don't need to charge it? That's your main one. Second one is that you can hotkey Gushing Waters. Gushing Waters will go off by using LMB after certain skills. For example, if you were to RMB into LMB, Gushing Waters would go off, which is super convenient, but it's just nice being able to have it on the hotbar. You can even cancel some skills with it. Like that one there, you didn't have to wait for the final hit of Dragon Shatter in order to use Gushing Waters. It's also pretty effective as a pull skill. It has a shockingly good range. Like I actually hit that guy all the way over there. I will use it for pulling sometimes, not always necessary. And the other one, this is sort of a weird one. Your forwards RMB, which is Sea Burial over here, it flows into Sea Burial, it's just called Flow Sea Burial. But this skill here does a bunch of bonus damage, but you need to make sure you hold forwards RMB. If you just push forwards RMB, it'll do the damage, but the flow won't go off. You need to actually make sure that you hold it down so that your flow actually goes off. Boom, boom. That second hit there, you need to make sure that goes off because that is where a lot of the damage of Sea Burial comes from. Outside of that, there's really not a lot of like fancy tips and tricks. I mean, obviously there's some like crazy stuff out there, but like for example, if you press spacebar and then backwards, you can jump backwards. That's good for getting behind packs and stuff. But I mean, you're going to use your Sea Burial, or not your Sea Burial, sorry, your Spiral Torpedo to get through those mobs anyway. Like I said, back E is a really, really nice vacuum. That's good for keeping your mobs filled up. But really there's not a lot. Like Mystic is a very fun, flowy class. It's kind of, you just run out and you do whatever you want. You can basically freestyle on her as much as you want. But outside of that, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. Get out there, get grinding. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and if you really want to help support me, consider buying a channel membership. It's $1.99. You get some emotes of my big ugly face. It's a grand old time, and you even get a juicy Discord role. But that's it for me, guys. Have a lovely evening. Get out there, get grinding, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.